Welcome everyone to the greatest talk show of history, featuring me, Nick Ernest. On today's show, we'll be interviewing German sociologist Max Weber.
Sir, he's dead.
Well then, we need to get him. Let's go. Oh, no way, there it is. Alright, time to dig up Max Weber and say hello.
Mr. Ernest, I don't think this is the best idea.
Just pass me the shovel.
Okay, don't hurt me. Whoa, it's really stuffy down my coffin.
Hello, Mr. Weber, I'm Nick Ernest. I'm doing my own talk show and I'm here to interview you.
Oh, I guess I have nothing better to do. Let's go.
Alright, let's go. So, why don't you have a German accent?
Well, that's a question with many answers.
Right. Mr. Weber, let's begin with this interview of ours. First question, when and where were you born, and when did you...
Die? Oh, well, I was born on April 21st, 1864 in Erfurt, Germany, and I died June 21st, 1920 in Munich.
Oh, interesting. What kind of social science did you study?
Well, in my time, I was a sociologist, which means I studied the development, functioning, and structure of human society. But I'm most well known for my study of how religion affects the economy in certain countries where certain religions are prominent.
Okay, so now we know where you were born, but tell us about your life overall. Not your contributions to the field, but just the life of Max Weber.
Oh, well, I was born to Max Weber Sr. and Helene Fallenstein. As a young child, I was surrounded by education, politics, and a variety of other subjects, which I very much enjoyed. In school, though, I was seen as very boisterous and rude, but it was mostly due to the fact that I was very bored with the material I was given.
Mm-hmm.
In 1882, I was accepted to the University of Heidelberg to study law, which was I was following in my father's footsteps because he was also a lawyer. But after my mandatory year of military service, I transferred to the University of Berlin, but also there I continued my studies in both law and history.
Oh, so you were studying more than just law?
Oh yes, from a young age I was interested in a variety of subjects, including economics, politics, history, and law. Oh yes, where was I before I got interrupted? Oh yes, well in 1886 I passed a referendum which allowed me to practice law in my native Germany. And in 1891 I received my PhD, which allowed me to teach law. With my PhD I went back to my old alma mater, the University of Berlin, to teach law. And during this in-between, though, in between getting my PhD and passing the referendum, I started to get very interested in social policy, which would later lead to my career as a sociologist, but I'll say that for later in the interview.
How did your father's death in 1897 affect your life?
Oh, well, after my father's death, it severely affected my life in the most negative ways. I developed insomnia, I became depressed, and it made me unable to teach full-time. Shortly afterwards, I didn't teach for at least a decade. Let's see. Oh yes, in 1914, after my long break from because of my father's death, I volunteered my services to the military after the breakout of World War I, and I was put in charge of organizing military hospitals in Heidelberg until 1915. After this, I had a brief foray into politics, where I tried to get a seat for the German Democratic Party.
Oh, the German Democratic Party. Weren't you a co-founder of that political party?
Oh yes, I was a...
What kind of party was it?
Well, it was a left-wing liberal party. We were partly successful, but by 1933 we had almost completely disbanded.
What happened after your foray into politics?
Well, after my foray into politics, I became very frustrated with the whole political world, so I went back to teaching at the University of Vienna until my death in June 14, 1920. Of the Spanish flu.
Now, Mr. Weber, what's your most significant work in the world of sociology?
Well, I have 4 different theories that are very prominent in the sociological circles. There's rationalization, the Protestant work ethic, the 3 strands of stratification, and the Weberian bureaucracy, which are all very famous for affecting both political and economic sociology.
What about symbolic interrationalism?
Well, that is a sociological class I founded, which is studying groups on a very small scale in order to see from their side of something, so to get into their shoes. And also, I'm also known for being one of the founders of modern sociology, along with Karl Marx and Durkheim.
Now let's see. I will admit that before this interview I did do some research, and it appears that you wrote some interesting books and essays, including The Protestant Ethic, The Spirit of Capitalism, The City, The Religion of China, Confucianism and Taoism, and Ancient Judaism, among others. Can you explain to us what these books were about?
Oh well, the first one you said, the Protestant about the Protestants, was is perhaps my most famous work, and it involves my theory of the Protestant work ethic.
Alright. That one involved the Calvinists working hard in order to gain acceptance into heaven, which in turn helped the economy.
Precisely. In that my theory, I write that in Northern Europe at the time, Calvinists, which is an offshoot religion of Christianity, grew to a point where their working hard, which is part of the religion to gain acceptance in heaven, affected it so much that it made modern capitalism possible.
What about the religion of China, Confucianism and Taoism?
Well, that was my third book about the comparison of religion and the economy. And instead of looking at European countries that had more of a Christianic religion system, I looked at Oriental countries which, as you said, had religions such as Confucianism and Taoism. And through studying that, I realized that it was impossible for those countries in order to have capitalism.
So the Chinese culture was terrible for capitalism then?
Actually, no. That was the funny thing I realized, is that there are several factors in Oriental countries which would make capitalism easily prosperous, but due to the fact of these religions, it declines these factors to the point where it's impossible for capitalism to be in effect.
Now the religion of India, the sociology of Hinduism and Buddhism.
Oh well, that was my fourth book analyzing the comparison between religion and the economy. And this time I looked at Indian countries, which, like Oriental countries, have a very spiritual religion. And I realized that, including religion, the caste system, which is where you are in the social class, made it impossible for most people to go up the social ladder, which made it imperable for capitalism to prosper. And also because of the fact that both Hinduism and Taoism are two religions that are very spiritual and don't want people to in their life to work hard or work towards any sort of goal except being a spiritual person.
So for both your analysis of China and India, you saw a pattern, is what I understand.
Exactly. I saw a pattern between these two countries, which made me realize that it was the religions that were causing the lack of capitalism. So I went to the mother of all Christianic religions and Muslim religions, which is Judaism, which is my fifth book, which was about Judaism. So I looked at it, and I realized through my studies that the Judaism is more about the earthly self, the religion itself, which makes it so working hard and working towards a sort of goal in this life is very wanted in that religion, compared to Oriental or Indian religions, where it's more about spiritualism and the such.
These studies are very in-depth. Why didn't you continue your research by looking even more into religions and countries?
Well, I had planned a number of different, looking into a number of different countries and religions where those are. But then before I could do so, I contracted Spanish flu and I died.
Now, Mr. Weber, tell me and our audience here the significance of your work to the world of sociology. Let's see, what about the Protestant work ethic thesis?
Well, that was my theory that at one point when capitalism was not born, it was born out of the fact that Calvinists, who are a religious group of Christianity, worked hard in order to gain acceptance into heaven. And by doing so, they skyrocketed the economy, birthing capitalism. This is important to sociology because it shows us how modern capitalism was able to prosper and how it was born. In modern society, it can be shown by Christian rock groups who play music to spread the word of God, but then in turn they also help with the economy.
What about rationalization?
Well, rationalization goes along with my thesis of Protestant work ethic, which says that even though religion births capitalism, over time society will drop it as a core reason to work hard, and will instead just work hard for themselves. This is important to sociology because it is the basis of sociology is first believing in legends or gods, and then over time taking a more scientific route to something and analyzing it.
What about the Weberian bureaucracy?
Well, that was my idea of the perfect bureaucracy based on my studies. It was the most organized, most efficient of those I could find. Due to my studies of bureaucracy, many others began to study it, which is its importance. And many public administrations today use my system of it. And examples of bureaucracies are places that control education and law.
Alright, explain to me the three dimensions of stratification.
Well, that was an idea that was originally Karl Marx said that the only way for a person to gain prestige in a social class was to have money or to gain money. But I realized that power, prestige, and money were the three things that someone would need in order to gain social status. Because of this, it's important because it showed the real reason, and it made neo-Marxism, which is a combination of Karl Marx's political views and more modern ideals. An example of this is celebrities, how even though they have money and we look up to them because of that, that's only an offshoot of why we really look up to them, which is their prestige and their power.
Okay, well it seems our time is up. Thank you very much, Mr. Weber, for coming on the show, and now I realize how important you were to sociology.
Oh, thank you very much. What was I going to do anyway, just sit in the coffin all day? Oh, and by the way, since I was dead, what happened to that National Socialist Party that closed my party down?
Oh, yeah. Well, my producer can tell you. She's right over there.
Oh, okay.
Well, good night, everyone. Tune in next week to the greatest talk show of history. Thank you very much. Including the Protestant ethic, the spirit of What?
Glasses.
Oh my God.
Thank God we didn't get down the first try. Because I would have been like...
Oh God, what have I done? God. Okay, whatever. Let's do it. It won't do anything wrong.